Alright, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well. Thanks for tuning in. Shout out to all the subscribers as always, and gratitude to anyone new. Let's talk about Jai Opetaia, the state of Jai, meaning the state of play. You know, what's he up to? That's a British term. Not meaning like look at the state of him. That's probably an Australian term as well, but like the state of what's he up to, where's he been, what's he doing. And I tried to find some footage and some clips of, you know, him training and stuff like that. Obviously he's got a fight with Mairis Briedis. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about his potential fight with Bivol and how excited he is to fight Bivol.
You know, Bivol, I've got a lot of respect for Bivol. He's probably one of my favorites, statistically one of my favorite fighters at the moment. You know, we actually went out to dinner with the Sheik the other night, man, and he said he wanted to see that fight with me and him further down the track, and that's a fight that I would love to have. And that's a fight that I would love to have.
And this is why I'm like a big fan of his, because he really wants these big fights. He wants to do some massively amazing things in this sport. And anyone that's new to this channel, I follow fighters with heart, I follow fighters with skill, and getting the best version of themselves. Every single person, and every time I try to cover these fighters, I do it with a lot of passion, because they've got the passion. It makes it easy. But watching some interviews, these are a couple of months old. Shout out to the subscriber, I think his name was Matt, that asked me to do another video on Jai Opetaia, because to be honest with you, I was thinking the other day, I was like, man, I miss that guy. Do you know what I mean? Because we've only had well, he had that one round with Ellis and the absolute demolition of I forgot that guy's name, Jordan Thompson. I mean, that was a massacre. And you know, since then, prior to that was the Briedis fight, I think. And then, you know, it's like, you know, he's been postponed. He was on the Tyson Fury card for the Briedis 2 fight, so that must have been a little bit annoying. But the thing is, with somebody like Opetaia, setbacks only make him a step forward, if that makes sense. Now, anytime he has negative news, which he did with the IBF stripping him, which he did with, you know, fights cancelled, fighters getting pulled out, I've heard him talk about this so many times. It fuels him. It fuels this guy, and that's why it's just incredible, because a lot of fighters would be, you know, you're taught not to really speak on your emotions in a boxing gym. You get on with it, you know. But, you know, there's not to say that people don't have feelings and don't feel this way. But he uses that to his advantage. And he's like, no, it's great. Let's go back to train, practice. Same with Tim Tszyu. We're in the gym. We're going to get the best version out of ourselves. And that's part of when you are boxing these things. It's such an unpredictable sport in the ring and out the ring. You just never know when fights get cancelled, people pull out. You know, it's notorious for that, because there's so many injuries that happen, and so many, you know. And he called Briedis, I can't say the word on channel, but begins with P and ends with Y basically, and you know, he seemed to think Briedis was getting cold feet. So, but with his training clips, look, one thing I noticed, and this was a punch he caught Briedis with, which is like, it's probably, to be honest, it's probably the hardest punch in boxing. And if you're a southpaw like him, a lead uppercut, right? It's one of his best punches, and it's a punch he caught Briedis with, and he hurt Briedis badly. I think it was early on, and he just kind of slipped to the side, boom, right uppercut.
Uppercut's a beauty. Sailed through and did damage.
And he just, the way he throws that, he's just, I'll pull some clips up right now as I'm talking. He's like, rah, and then he'll just shoot the left up in. A lead right uppercut is just like the way, how fluid he is with it. It's such a beautiful punch, and I've said before, he's got such an arrangement of punches. You know, every angle. He's got that beautiful bouncing Soviet style kind of. He's got an ability to counter punch on the back foot. He's got a mean jab. He's got a good backhand, and he can really box. I think, to be honest with you, one thing that's missing, and it's not totally absent, but his inside game is okay. I think there could be some improvements there, because, and look, to be honest with you, the way he fights, his style, it's not conducive to inside fighting. You look at Usyk, you know, I'm not saying he can't fight there, but he's far better bouncing in and out of range, in that mid-range, you know, moving his head, getting that rhythm. That's like Jai Opetaia. So they tend not to be on the inside, you know. And when he is on the inside, I've seen it, he makes a few fairly novice mistakes because he's not there, and that's normal. Do you know what I mean? It's not a criticism, but I think I'd love to see him get that a little bit better. Maybe I'll do a bit more studying on that, and I'll bring it to what I'm actually talking about, because it was in the Briedis fight where it's just like, you know, your head's in the wrong place on the slot. It might not be on the side of the shoulder. Your arm's not really doing what it should be doing to shut the offense down. Little things like that. When you're fighting on the inside, it's a lot of trickery, okay? A lot of body position movement. You got to get your chin out the way, and you got to tuck. You got to use your balance too. And I think he was just a bit upright. His arms were just out here, and Briedis was sneakily catching him. Nothing crazy, but these are just little things. If you watch excellent inside fighters like Bernard Hopkins, for example, or, you know, I can't even think. Let's just use him as an example. If you look at where he's stationary and his shoulders are and his movement and the tricks he does, you know, putting his hands on someone's gloves, just as simple as that, hand on someone's elbow. If I'm putting my hand on their elbow like that, just like that, they can't do anything with that hand. Same with the other hand. And you got to use your hands actively and get your base under you and tuck your chin away, like I said. But, you know, one of the things too about the Bivol fight I'll talk about now is really interesting, because they obviously have a very similar style, but there's quite a few differences as well. Jai is a bit more power orientated, you know, Bivol's a bit more sharper, quicker, in and out, a bit straighter, but he's got a tremendous lead hand. A lead hand is like he's got a tremendous jab as well, Bivol, because he uses it in so many different ways. Okay, he'll use it to probe a little bit. He'll use it to blind his opponents. He'll use it to just flash the guard. He'll use it to kind of maneuver a bit like Usyk. Opetaia does it as well, but less intelligently. And now he can develop that for sure, and he probably will. But I think Bivol's lead hand is elite. Okay, elite. And it has so many purposes, and it helps set his jabs up. It helps set his 1-2s up like that. But a thing that they do, and I'll pull a clip up right now as I'm talking, when they're bouncing like that, they'll come in, bam, like that. They'll shoot the jab, and as he's landed, he's already out. Okay, so it's like bap, bap, like that. And that's defensive responsibility. And that's getting drilled in, and this is part of the Bivol documentary I've been talking about a long time, but that's part of it. God, it's hot in here, man. I'm kind of sweating a little bit. I've been talking about all technique is kind of get me going, but defensive responsibility is drilled into these fighters, and this is where it's done in the practice right now. When he's just jabbing like that, pop, like that, out, in, out. So you hit them, you're out. They can't hit you. That's a big part of the Soviet style. Okay, and when I was training in the gym, I used to train right side by side with this guy from Russia, right? He had the craziest mullet. His name was Mike, Coach Mike, right? And he had a slogan, and it was "Win or Die." And he used to have the little kids, they were like 5 years old. They were all wearing this t-shirt. I mean, he was the most Russian dude you could ever think of. I'll pull a clip up. I'll pull a picture up of him. Anyway, point on where I'm going with this. He used to drill them to do that. I used to watch it all the time. They would come in like this with the lead hand, bop, bop, and then they'd be back out with that pendulum step. And they would do that all the time, non-stop, non-stop, non-stop. Every time he'd have these kids like 5 years old, win or die, and bouncing in and out, bop, bop, like that. And that's where it comes from. And that's, you know, that's like, obviously, he's brought that from Russia. And, you know, I don't know how Opetaia has picked up on this style. It's really fascinating. Same with Tim Tszyu. I don't know where he gets his style from, because it's some American swing in there, if you will. You know, he's got the shoulder roll like that and catches. I was watching a video on him earlier today about his defense. It was really, really great. I've done a video about his defense. It is amazing. And he's like this. He's shoulder rolling like that, catching, using his forearms, swerving, moving. And that's really, really, really cute defense. That's another video though. But For now, I think I've been rambling for quite enough time. I appreciate all of you guys for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. It's got to come from here, as always. If you are new, hit the subscribe button. I'll have a few more videos. I'm going to try and do a couple every other day. And I've got the Nikita Zoo film study coming up soon. I've got to shoot that. I've got other film studies on Shushu, Carrington, Bevo. I've got loads of videos coming. I'm going to try and take this channel to another stratosphere. But that's it from me. Peace and love. I'm out.
Boxing.
Knowledge.